Welcome back, everyone, to the Play by Play podcast. This is episode number 71, where today we are back with another NFL 2025 mock draft. Been having a lot of fun with these recently, to be honest. There's been, moments going on throughout my day where I'll pop in between breaks during homework or even in class where I'll just, do a quick mock draft and kind of see where my picks lie. And it is becoming pretty exciting, at this point in the season now being, I believe we are 15 days away by the time that I'm recording this from the NFL draft, just about 2 weeks until we get to introduce some brand new players, a brand new group into the NFL family. It's definitely some very, very exciting times. And I think that, now picks are beginning to solidify a little bit that, the at least the top around the top five, top six, top seven picks of this draft, I think are becoming a little bit more and more clear. There might be a couple of player swaps in between here that you can kind of go back and forth with, but overall, I seem to be having a lot more consistent drafts, at least towards the top of the order. Really quick before we get started, guys, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and leave a like and comment down below, as well as share with your friends. And if you haven't already, come on, man, what are you doing? Go ahead and follow us on all social medias, that being TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of our ads are going to be down below. And like always, man, you already know there's going to be a bar popping up right below me. Without further ado, guys, the commentary of the 2025 NFL mock draft starts right now. Let's get into it. So here we go. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and hop right into this with the top of the order with the number one overall pick of the Tennessee Titans. A team where it's pretty set in stone, in my opinion, right now, of who the number one overall pick is going to be. It's going to be Cam Ward. The Titans have shown, pretty much as much interest as you can show in a prospect. They have pretty much signaled down their sights down into Cam Ward. There have been canceling conversations with people like Shador Sanders, Abdul Carter, and whatnot. They're really signaling in onto Cam Ward. I don't blame them. Second year head coach Brian Callahan, a brand new GM, both guys who have not had their opportunity yet to pick the guy that is going to be leading their team on the field. Go out and get your guy like Cam Ward. Definitely, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this draft, especially in terms of ceiling. The dude has an absolute rocket arm. He's very, very patient in the pocket, has good pocket presence for sure, is very, very big as a quarterback and has some ability to scramble out of it. Just needs to work with some consistency things in terms of accuracy and whatnot, but definitely some things that can be patched up and can look at him as a franchise quarterback. Moving on forward to 2 and 3. Also, not going to spend too much time on this, although I will say that both of these picks are definitely interchangeable. This is kind of the first two that are interchangeable in my mind. I'm going to go with Abdul Carter in this one at number 2 and Travis Hunter at number 3. I feel like I've been going a little bit more towards Travis Hunter at number 2 in the past couple of drafts that I've had, but I'm going to go Abdul Carter with this one at number 2. I think that both the Cleveland Browns and New York Giants are in a position where they just can't really take a chance at this moment in time with a guy like Shador Sanders, or maybe with a different quarterback like a Jalen Milrow or a Jackson Dart, those other guys that are getting a little bit of hype, especially when you have two guys like Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter who are looked at as potential generational talents at this point in the draft, and two guys that a lot of people are looking at as just really, really sure things. One of them can literally play both sides of the ball, both wide receiver and corner. And Abdul Carter, just his athleticism, his versatility, he's able to power through and rush the passer. He's been getting a lot of really solid comparisons to Michael Parsons as of late, which I would agree with. A man that can move inside, a man that can move onto the edge, the man who can play outside linebacker, who has some coverage skills, and who is still pretty raw and can develop his game. And I know there's a little bit of questions here and there, especially with Travis Hunter a little bit. Can he play both sides of the ball? Which position is he better at? In my opinion, I would say that's definitely corner with his ball hawking skills and his ability in coverage. But I think that these two guys, just from a talent perspective, are as good as it gets. I think, in almost any future draft, they would 100% be the number one overall pick if quarterback wasn't such a big time need. And I think that both of them are going to right away make a big time impact for two teams that really need it, especially looking at some of their executives, some of their coaches, and the positions that they're in now. These are people, that are behind the scenes that really, really need to start winning games or they're going to be out pretty shortly. And I think that these two guys give them the best chance of that, especially with a team like New York, who just picked up a veteran, Russell Wilson, and is definitely looking to push, 8, 9, 10 wins to give Brian Dable one more year as the head coach of that. And for the Cleveland Browns, I just don't think that it would be smart in this moment to go out and get a quarterback when your offense really just isn't set. There's not really a real answer at running back. You wouldn't really have a solid number one wide receiver, in my opinion. I think that Jerry Jeudy, with his route running ability, with his ability to play down the middle, with his speed, definitely would fit in a little bit better as a number two, not more as an X, where the X position is a little bit more physical, a little bit more high point. Judy does offer that speed a lot more, and so I think that he really suits that. And so if you don't really have your offense solidified, you definitely do not want to put a quarterback like Shador Sanders in there, who's not going to grow a lot, in a really bad position right away. Moving on to the New England Patriots, and I've seen a lot of different ideas for this draft pick. A lot of people have been looking at potentially Tedero McMillan to play alongside Stephon Diggs and to just give Drake May as many possible targets that they can. A lot of people have also been looking at Ashton Genty to fill in that running back need. Of course, the value would likely be there, even though it is a little bit insane to draft a running back in top four. But I'm definitely sticking with my guns and the pick that I've pretty much had every single time that I've done a mock draft, and that is the New England Patriots going with the offensive line and going with Will Campbell. I think that he is undoubted as of right now the best offensive tackle in this draft. I understand that there are a lot of concerns with him in terms of his shorter arm length, but the dude does have power with his speed. He is able to get out within the run game and just plow dudes over. He still does a really solid job on the back foot. And like I've mentioned so many times before, because he does have those shorter arms and because he has that type of versatility, it really does just allow the Patriots this year to go out and play their best five offensive linemen, whoever those guys are. We don't know who that is at this moment, but it really just allows them to move things around and just give them the best situational protection for Drake May, which is definitely a big boost and an ability to help him continue to grow. And with the tackle class as deep with this, I mean, we could potentially be seeing, four or five, six tackles potentially going within the first round. You definitely have to go out and get a talent like this. Really solid power tackle in Will Campbell, very, very versatile like this for them. The Jaguars are also a team that a lot of people have been having as a flex. Tedero McMillan, Tyler Warren has been mentioned here at number five with how many of the offensive weapons that they've lost. But I do think that when you have an ability to build in the trenches, that when you need to go out and begin to get pressure on the quarterback, especially in the division where you have so many, dual threat type quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson with the Colts, Cam Ward potentially hitting it with the Titans, and then CJ Stroud with the Texans, all three quarterbacks that could at any time roll out and get into the open field. Having a guy like Mason Graham to really shut that down, come up the middle, and even stopping the run game at times. I mean, you have to stop Tony Pollard. Even on his own team, is going to have to go into practice against Travis Etienne. You're going to have Jonathan Taylor within that division. You're going to have Joe Mixon. So both the running game and dual threat quarterbacks, you need to be able to build trenches to enclose that area within the pocket against those quarterbacks and create that anxiety, create that pressure. And I think that Mason Graham is definitely somebody that can do that. Putting him next to Josh Hines Allen is definitely going to be a huge, huge plus for them. And I think that Trevor Lawrence right now, with his low confidence, with the stagnance of play that he's had, I think that you really want to give it one more season just to see what he can do, and then potentially either look to go into a different direction or start to add weapons to the squad. Then you have the Las Vegas Raiders at number six. Again, at this point, it just makes too much sense. It's even a little bit too obvious at this point. I think that Ashton Genty is the pick here with number six. Pete Carroll has put a lot of reliance in that run game. The man's career has been built off the run game, whether it was having the Lightning and Thunder at USC or having Marshawn Lynch in Seattle. The dude has built off of just having a really solid run game, and it helps, as we know, when the run game is going really well, the passing game goes really well because the offense is much more unpredictable. We mentioned it so many times on this podcast. And really, I mean, the Raiders, with their ability to upgrade the pass game with Geno Smith, with them really not having a viable option within that backfield right now, Ashton Genty with the power that he offers, with the speed that he offers, with the balance that he offers. I mean, he is potentially talent wise a top three, top four talent in this draft, and to be able to slide down here, upgrade that offense, give Geno Smith some help, a little bit of a buffer, and giving him a top I'll say it even myself, a generational type talent with Ashton Jeanty coming out of Boise State. I definitely think that that is going to be the right fit there. New York Jets at number 7. This is kind of the final solid pick in line that I have for this mock draft. I'm going to go back to the offensive tackle range. I think that they definitely need to improve in that, especially with them signing on Justin Fields, having Brees Hall in the backfield, and that's going to be Armand Membu. You now have a position that the Los Angeles Chargers were in last year where they go out and they get two potential. I'm not saying this right now because both Membu and Fashanu are very raw. But for the Chargers, it was two potential all pro tackles with Rashawn Slater and with Joe Alt on either side. And we saw how beneficial that was to Justin Herbert, just having that security, just having so much time to run to be able to hold on to the ball. And also, once again, for the unpredictability in the run game, J.K. Dobbins did some work behind that offensive line, going to the outside, pushing with his speed. And so the Jets can really do something here. And they're honestly likely in a better position than LA was in last year because if both Membu and Fashanu can really show up, there's even potential for Fashanu to slide into guard. But if Membu and Fashanu really show up, you have Brees Hall in the backfield, and you have solid receivers. You have Garrett Wilson as your number one. You have Alan Lazard right behind him. Like Justin Fields really has some solid weapons surrounding him. So you get him some protection on that offensive line. You get him a real motivating type of head coach in Aaron Glenn. I don't really see if Justin Fields fails with that, then honestly, I don't think that he's going to be a suitable starting quarterback. I really believe that this is his last chance to really prove himself. I think that he is coming into a solid situation with a real culture building head coach. And if they can get him some protection along with the weapons that he has, that dude has to succeed. Moving on to the Carolina Panthers. Another one that I feel like is a little bit set in stone. I think that there's only about 2 or 3 guys that I'd really go with here. I've really been going linebacker with this pick because I just think that it's a huge need. I think that Jahad Campbell and Jalen Walker are 2 guys that I have really gone back and forth with. But today, I'll be honest, I'm going to go ahead and switch it up a little bit. And I'm actually going to give Bryce Young a big time target. And that's going to be Tedero McMillan at wide receiver at number 8. I know that his draft stock has been falling a lot, that he has been going into the early, mid, even at times into the late teens. I know that there have been some general managers and front offices that were really concerned with some social media posts that came out a couple of years ago where he talked about not, liking to watch film. But does that really matter? I'm not 100% sure. Does that mean that he doesn't necessarily have a big time passion for the game? Maybe, maybe not. Could somebody not have the biggest passion for the game but still be amazing at the game? I definitely think that could be possible. And I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. I just see him as a really amazing talent. Like I said, he would plug in right into your X, right into your number one wide receiver, a real high point receiver that is able to run routes very well on the outside, matches up well against smaller corners. And Bryce Young showed some confidence down the stretch against big time teams last season. And I think that if you get him a guy like this combined with a veteran type and Adam Thielen. I mean, those two together, I know that Thielen might not move a lot of people at his age, but he's still been able to put together some solid seasons. And I think that this would definitely boost and help out Bryce Young. Now, coming at 9 with the New Orleans Saints. For this one, I've been trying to stay away from the quarterbacks because I just don't feel like it's that big of a need for them right now because I feel like Derek Carr is 100% going to be their starting quarterback no matter what going into this season. And to be honest, I feel like this is the Saints team that is still very talented. Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, like they have weapons on this squad, and they still have, veterans like Cam Jordan on that defense to go ahead and back them up. And so I do definitely think that this is a squad that, obviously isn't in Super Bowl contention, but should be potentially competing for a playoff spot. And because of that, should potentially be going out and getting the maximum amount of value that they can within this draft. However, a lot of experts have really been going into this direction for the past couple of weeks. And to just see kind of how this changes things and how this would change the rest of the order of the draft, I'm going to shift myself to Shador Sanders going here. Again, it's not the thing that I'm the biggest believer in, but I do think that getting Derek Carr some competition, lighting a fire underneath him could potentially be beneficial. I do think that Derek Carr could be potentially somebody that somebody could grow behind, and just allowing Shador Sanders to have one more year to really experience the NFL, being able to watch it, just be able to take in as much knowledge could be something that's really beneficial for him going forward. We know that he already has the accuracy. We know already that he is very he has a lot. He has some really really solid field IQ looking down the field. He goes through his reads pretty good as a progression. And there's just some things like his drop back. I still do think that the man has a really, really solid arm, but holding on to the ball a little bit long, just a couple of little kinks in his game that definitely could be figured out. And I think that sitting behind Derek Carr could potentially be fitting. And with the head coach and Kellen Moore, that's also been a former NFL quarterback, that could all be what it takes to break some of those habits and just make him a better quarterback on day one. Then we go with the Chicago Bears, who, in my opinion, have changed this pick from a need pick to a want pick. And I know that that sounds a little bit weird, but I really feel that in the beginning with this number 10 overall, there was so much emphasis about the Bears getting an offensive lineman, getting an offensive lineman, get an offensive lineman because they needed it so bad. But Ryan Poles has done a really great job getting Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, getting Drew Dahlman, still having Darnell Wright on the roster, building the trenches on the defensive line with some solid guys like Grady Jarrett. Like he has really, really versatile this pick. He has allowed the Bears to really go in any direction that they really want. If they're not really confident in Cole Kmet's abilities anymore, getting a hell of an athlete in Tyler Warren at number 10 definitely wouldn't be the worst thing. Running back potentially. Genty is off the board in this one. There are a couple of mock drafts that have Genty going to Chicago. Even so, Omarion Hampton is still available, and I think that's a guy that, with his pass catching abilities, with his speed, with his balance as well, could definitely be a solid player for him. But I'm not going to lie, I'm going to go offensive line with this. I'm going to go with Josh Simmons. And I know that that might be a little bit weird to some people. Why the heck are you going to go with an offensive lineman at number 10 when you have signed 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen? But I really feel that Ryan Poles in this moment in time is really in is really in a mindset where he does not want to waste any more years of Caleb Williams. You saw some really really special moments out of Caleb last year, despite being the most sacked quarterback. He doesn't want to risk injury. He doesn't want to risk any of that. And to be honest, they're fine almost everywhere else. Quarterback, they're fine. Receiver, they are more than fine. Tight end, they are okay. Running back, DeAndre Swift had nearly a 1,000 yard season last year. Like he is still a really solid running back. I understand that maybe he might not be as dynamic as maybe an Omarion Hampton, but he is still a suitable starting running back within this league. And with this really gives you 5 out of 5 offensive linemen. Simmons will be hurt, I believe, to start the season. I believe he is dealing with a little bit of an injury, but you could still play him behind. He could come in midway through the season, and between him, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, Darnell Wright. I mean, that is an all pro level offensive line. Caleb Williams should have absolutely no issues succeeding. You'd have DJ Moore and Rome Odunze to his left and right. You'd have DeAndre Swift, 1,000 yards with a terrible offensive line. Can you imagine what DeAndre Swift could do with this all pro level offensive line that they could put together? I understand the offensive line isn't the biggest need for them anymore. I understand that you could go with a more sexy pick, maybe not even a running back, maybe somebody like a Malachi Starks to help, or a Will Johnson to help upgrade that secondary. But this really solidifies your offense as one of, if not the best, the most talented young offenses within the league. Going ahead with the San Francisco 49ers, another very interesting pick because I feel like there are also so many different directions that they could go because they lost so many players this year. Could definitely look towards offensive line as well, both on the interior and on the outside. Could potentially look at a replacement at receiver, but between Ayuk, Jennings, and Purcell, I don't think that that's completely there. But I'm going to go ahead on the defensive end. Obviously, lost Talanoa Hufunga, lost Tarvarius Ward, lost Dre Greenlaw. Need to put a lot more talent on this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give him Will Johnson. I really just don't think that you can go into this season, especially with some of the wide receiving threats that you have in this division. Cooper Kupp, JSN, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you have Devontae Adams and Puka Nakua. You need a guy that's going to be able to go out and compete with those guys. And Will Johnson, he just has really, really great instincts. Very solid press man corner, very, very physical on the line. But even in zone, has shown some ability to be able to push his man into his own defense to be able to create issues and get them out of those holes within the zone defense. The dude is really really smart. He's very very aggressive. Sure, there are some potential tackling issues, but I think that overall him over Jade Barron just makes sense right now, just because I don't feel like Barron really has the size to really compete with him. And with the receiving options that are going on within your division, with the fact that your secondary has pretty much been demolished, I understand the potential need for maybe somewhere like linebacker, but I think that Johnson, in my opinion, outside of Travis Hunter, is still the number one corner within this draft and would fill in there nicely. The Dallas Cowboys, I think that there are so many directions that they could really go with this pick as well. But I think that seeing what I have seen out of mock drafts over the past couple of weeks, knowing Jerry Jones and kind of just the want for a sexy money making pick, I think you go out and get somebody who had a very was he the fastest 40? I'm not 100% on that. I'd have to look at the numbers. I believe he was, but having the fastest 40-yard dash this year in Matthew Golden, somebody who can go out there and offset CD Lamb on the left side. Well, I do think that running back could also still 100% be a play because Javonte Williams isn't somebody that's going to have the highest production. I don't know. Is signing Williams to a 1 or 2 year deal meaning that he is going to 100% being the starting running back? I don't know, but I also do think that this running back class is really deep. You don't just have guys like Amarion Hampton. You have Cam Scatterbo. You have Caleb Johnson. You have Quinshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson. You go even lower. You have DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Trevor Etienne, Marcus Yarns. I mean, Taj Brooks. I mean, this running back class is really stacked from top to bottom. There are so many different guys that you can go ahead and go with in this running back in the third, fourth, potentially even fifth round. So you go out, you get another option for Dak. You get a money making type move, and that is going to be that. Miami Dolphins also going to go offensive line. It's really just the biggest need for these teams. And for Miami particularly, they really need it right now with the retirement of Teron Armstead. I was already talking about, them really needing it to be able to protect Tua with his injury history, but now it's bigger than ever, especially with tackles like Austin Jackson not 100% really working out. And Kelvin Banks Jr. is another guy that is really, really solid. And another guy that is also shorter on the arm length. It's very versatile, can go inside to the outside. They do need help on the inside of their offensive line, so that could be a help there as well. Could definitely see the need for secondary, also definitely there. Maybe running back because they did lose Raheem Mostert, and I know that Devon Achane has had some injury history. But I think that Kelvin Banks, you just try to keep your franchise quarterback as healthy as you can with the history that he's had. Kelvin Banks Jr. just makes all the sense in the world right there. Finally moving away from those Longhorns, finally moving away from that offensive line for a little bit because we have Tyler Warren here at tight end for Penn State for the Indianapolis Colts. I think that I'm more sure about this pick likely than I am for Cam Ward at number one, to be honest. It just makes too much sense. It is the biggest need on this Colts offense. The Colts really need to give Anthony Richardson the most help that they possibly can. Or if Anthony Richardson isn't the answer, they need to give Daniel Jones as much help as they can because we know how limited Daniel Jones can be talent wise, especially reading defenses on the opposing end. So Warren here, he gives really solid athleticism, really solid speed, is a real matchup nightmare against opposing linebackers, can play down the middle of the field, is somebody that can combine with Michael Pittman with a deep threat like Alec Pierce and really just give you the best ability to be successful offensively. Give Anthony Richardson the best situation to be able to grow and really improve. Tyler Warren is the pick here, and I think that it makes all of the sense in the world. The Atlanta Falcons at 15, 100% needs to be defense. Will it happen? Not 100% sure because it does not seem like they like to pay attention to defense. Um, but the question is, who is it going to be? I like Malachi Starks at safety potentially. I like Jahad Campbell with his ability to play zone at outside linebacker. But I'm going to go with Mike Green in this pick, a real just power edge rusher, a dude that is huge, that is strong, and can really just plow over any offensive tackle that comes in his way. Has really solid tackling, really, really solid ability to be able to stop the run. And that's really the biggest two needs that like a team in Atlanta has really had, especially the tackling. One of the worst defenses in the NFL for over the past, 4 or 5 years. I don't know if they're really going to address it. There definitely could be an option here where they go interior offensive line, potentially with somebody like Tyler Booker. Maybe look at somebody at the wide receiver slot. But in my opinion, you have to go where you're the weakest. That is defense. That is tackling. Get you a stud and a power edge rusher in Mike Green. Arizona Cardinals. This is the probably the most tricky pick in my opinion out of all of this. I really don't know what area to go. Go ahead and I know I do this all the time. Go ahead and look up this Arizona Cardinals depth chart at this point. Come on, ESPN, where you at? Where you at with the depth chart? So obviously you have Kyler Murray, you have James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr. There is potential for a second wide receiver there. Tight end is already pretty filled up. Tackles are okay, not great. You do have Josh Sweat, you have Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, Baron Browning. I know that they traded for Buda Baker, but potentially somebody across from that cornerback from Sean Murphy Bunting. So many directions that they could go. Again, I'm going a little bit different with this draft. I feel like I'm gonna go with Jahdae Barron. Again, I think that it would be really, really useful for them to get somebody opposite of Sean Murphy Bunting. I understand that Barron is a little bit more undersized, that he is definitely your prototypical slot corner, but maybe he could look up to there. I mean, he's 5'11", so it's not like it's terrible. It's obviously not great, it's not ideal, but I don't think that it's a terrible, terrible size difference, and maybe he could work up to it. But I really think that that just solidifies and makes this again another really solid, talented team in Arizona. 17 with the Cincinnati Bengals. I've had them going Malachi Starks for the longest time. I'm sticking with it. Just a guy that once again is just so versatile. And I know that I've been bringing that word up a lot, but that is really the story of this draft. It's just versatility, 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 and Malachi Starks is definitely up there with the most versatile players in this class. Somebody that could be a box safety, somebody that has shown ability to go down and play a Kyle Hamilton type role at linebacker, somebody who has also shown the ability to play in the slot at cornerback. And listen, with a Cincinnati Bengals team that just, a Cincinnati Bengals defense that just has not looked dynamic whatsoever, has been very lackluster when it comes to talent. I mean, really, Trey Hendrickson, Jermaine Pratt, your cornerbacks, that Super Bowl year where Eli Apple and Mike Hilton, um, Jesse Bates as your safety. You just need a big time playmaker here. Starks is definitely that, somebody that can move all around. They could use them in a multitude of different ways. Definitely think that this is a good pick for them here. Here we got the Seattle Seahawks at 18. Another very, very interesting pick. And again, another pick that I'm going to go in a different direction with because I'm going to give them, I was going to give them uh, the Burden. How tall is Ibuka? 6'1". I know that Burden is a little bit more shorter. But I think that JSN and Cooper Cup, while they are more slot guys, they have proven some ability to play on the outside. I'm going to give them another receiving option with Luther Burden. I know that a lot of people aren't really going to like that. I've had Tyler Booker going to them in so many drafts. Again, I'm just trying to try out new things and see where things go. And I definitely think that this could be an option for them because I think that the Seahawks look at their position right now. They look at Sam Darnold last year, and they really tell themselves, we need to be able to give Sam Darnold as much help as we possibly can. I mean, you look at that Minnesota offense last year. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, pretty solid offensive line, TJ Hawkinson. Like, they really gave him the best weapons to be able to succeed. And he succeeded. He got them to a really, really solid season. I know that there were a couple of sizzle outs, a couple of downs. The playoff game wasn't the greatest out of him, but Luther Burden, JSN, Cooper Cup, you have a dynamic, speedy offense that is really going to be able to, create some problems for teams down the middle of the field, especially with Burden. And he is a deep threat as well that can get out on the outside, mismatch against corners, and go there as well. So I think that this just gives them the biggest chance to maximize Sam Darnold's potential at quarterback. 19 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been going defense for them. I'm going to continue to do it. I think that Jahad Campbell at the 19th overall pick in this draft is just an overall steal for them. Not only someone who I mentioned has shown ability to rush the passer, but also someone that has shown some real ability to be able to get out into zone coverage, be able to guard tight ends, be able to, stun wide receivers as they're coming across the middle with his strength. this is just again, I hate saying it because I've said it 100 million times. You're gonna hear it 100 million more times. This is just another versatile type of pick where he can move all around. He has the zone ability to even play on the inside at linebacker and be an inside linebacker. Does he can he, you know, shed blocks enough on the inside to be able to get out of there and stuff the run? Maybe, maybe not. I think that that's really going to be, how they really use him within their scheme. But with the coverage ability, with the pass rushing ability, 19, I think that this is a steal for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team who needs some talent on the defensive end. Denver Broncos. This has to be an offensive pick, definitely. The wide receiver position at this point is a little bit thin in terms of first rounders. You only sit with Emeka Ibuka here at rank 18, average draft position at 23. And to be honest, I do feel like that this wide receiver class is pretty deep as well. You have Io Manor, you have Jaden Higgins, Jack Betch. If you look lower down, you have Savion Williams, Isaiah Bond, Tez Johnson, and whatnot. So there still are some really solid wide receivers for Denver. So I don't think that they have to stress about it. And because of that, I think that it's pretty clear that if they don't get Luther Burden, they get Amarion Hampton at 20. If they don't get Amarion Hampton or Ashton Genty, they get Luther Burden. And that's what's so fun here for Denver is they end up getting a guy that they really desperately need either way. And this draft, they once again go out and get Amarion Hampton, a really solid pass catching back out of the backfield. Solid speed, great balance, such as Genty, somebody who a lot of people have been comparing to on par as Genty, a really, really solid running back and somebody that Sean Payton is going to be able to plug away in day one, make his offense so much more dynamic, whether it's checkdowns to him in the pass game, being able to run inside zone runs. I mean, the dude can do it all. Starting running back right here for Denver, and they're going to be a scary, scary offense if they go ahead and get this man on their side. Then you go with the Pittsburgh Steelers here at 21, quarterback, running back, tackle, safety. Where do we go with the Steelers? Going to go ahead and take a look at their depth chart as of right now. Because right now, I'll be honest, I don't really feel safe with them taking a quarterback at 21. I know we did in the last one, but uh, uh, that was definitely more quarterback dependent type draft in the last one. And I definitely do think that at this point, you can get a solid quarterback in the second, third, fourth round. Like Kyle McCord has been raising up draft boards. We'll go ahead and take a look at this. Jalen Milrow has skyrocketed. You have Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord. Tyler Shaw has even been getting some looks lately from NFL teams. So I do definitely think that there is, not franchise quarterback talent at this point in the draft, but definitely guys in the second, third, fourth round that could plug in for you on day one and potentially just fill in for a year, get you 7, 8, 9 wins, and allow it to really be a bridge to a potential starting quarterback next year. So with that being said, I mean they've shored up this secondary a lot, so I don't think that that's really an option. The defense as a whole is really, really solid with T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward. You have Patrick Queen on the inside. The offensive line, they've been slowly building tight end. I mean, this is a really, really talented Steelers team. I'm going to just continue to build on pass rush. Hayward is getting older, and I just don't think that they have enough there to really push forward through with. I'm going to go with James Pierce Jr. here. Reason why is because I think that him in Pittsburgh, he could potentially play a very similar role that he did in Tennessee, where they had 5 or 6 really solid pass rushers, and he was able to just switch in, switch out at any time, be fresh. And when he's fresh, I mean, the dude is a monster, really solid with the finesse moves, could even move inside with his power. A little bit undersized, I believe. Take a look at his 6'5". Ooh, I know I keep mixing him up a little bit, but really, really quick first step. Really solid outside guy with his finesse moves. Could move to outside linebacker as well. Has power with 6'5". Definitely a dude that could go in there and be a day one impact for the Pittsburgh Steelers. LA Chargers. I like to go receiver for them here. I'm gonna go with Colston Loveland just because I feel like Egbuka's draft stock has been sliding down a lot. I think that there is a lot of fatigue on that man as a draft prospect. I think that the Chargers are still a little scared to go out and get, a first round wide receiver with Greg Roman and Harbaugh. And I think that Loveland is a really great talent here at 22, plugs in right away at your starting tight end. You still have Lad McConkey on the outside, so you're not dying there at wide receiver. And they were able to sign Mike Williams back in free agency. So between those three, I think that Herbert the offense is getting better. I understand that there are still concerns at the running back position, but the offense is getting better. The offensive line is solid, and with Loveland in there, I think that that gives him some solid weapons. Pittsburgh Steelers here at 23. Not Pittsburgh Steelers, Green Bay Packers. My apologies. Ah, where do we go with you, Green Bay? Another team that could potentially just use a wide receiver. I don't like hating on Ibuka as much as I have. And the Packers offense, especially from passing. I mean, Dobbs, Reed, and Watson. I mean, they've been fine, and Jaden Reed himself has really, really upgraded himself. But like, is it anything that really stands out to you with those guys? Could they potentially go a pass rush too? I mean, yes. Cornerback, you have Nate Hobbs in the slot, Keyshawn Nixon here, three forced fumbles, 61 tackles. Sorry if I'm like, I feel like I'm slurring my words a little bit here, guys. It's because it's late. I'm recording this at 10:34 at night. It is getting a little bit late. I'm tired. It's been a little bit of a long day, so I do apologize. I think corner could be an option for them. Is there really the talent here right now? I mean, Siobhan Ravel, you go back. Ooh, Jalen Walker is still available. I feel like I always like if I pick Jalen Walker at 8, then I end up forgetting about him. If I if I pick Jahad Campbell up high, I end up forgetting about Jalen Walker. If I pick Jalen Walker high, I end up forgetting about Jahad Campbell. And this draft, I kind of forgot about both of them, to be honest. That's kind of the first time that that happened. Ooh, this is a tough one, guys. Another very, very tough pick. Ekbuka here, 6'1". I mean, high floor for him. And I haven't had him going in this slot, and we are going with different options. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. I just think that the Packers at this point, they need a little bit of excitement in that wide receiver room. I think that Jaden Reed has offered a little bit with his speed. I think that there needs to be more. I don't think that Watson is a suitable number two, number one guy. I think Dobbs is okay at that position. I think that you can get better. And having more than enough wide receivers, I don't think is really an issue. Like if you have a lineup with Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Emeka Buga, and Romeo Dobbs, like is that really a bad thing to be able to stretch out with four wide and be able to give Jordan Love an opportunity? I don't really think so. Minnesota Vikings here at 24. I've had this pick the same for a while as well, and I apologize for the repetitiveness. Where is he at? I know that he's fallen a little bit on the draft boards, but I'm gonna go with Nick Amanawari here. Just again, I'm gonna say it again. Versatility with this guy. The pro comparisons have been Jeremy Chin. Really, really like that comparison as somebody who is just versatile at safety and at box linebacker. Solid coverage from him. Really, really great athlete. And somebody that could play behind Harrison Smith, could play next to Harrison Smith, that could replace Harrison Smith when he's gone and retired, which is going to probably be in the near future, likely after his new contract ends up. I think that this is solid right here. The Houston Texans, I don't doubt that they need to go offensive line. The problem is, do you reach and go out for an offensive lineman as of right now? Potentially, because obviously Laramie Tunsil is a huge, huge loss for you, and you need to be able to protect your franchise quarterback there. But also the inside hasn't been amazing. I mean, they signed Lakin Tomlinson, which was terrible. They have Juice Scrubs there, and you still have Trent Brown on the right side, who is okay. I'm gonna go on the inside here. Again, a move that I haven't really made, but I actually think that this makes a little bit of sense because I've had Tyler Booker going to the Seahawks at 18. I think that 25 is even better value for him. You move him into the inside, get Lakin Tomlinson or Juice Scrubs absolutely out of there. Both of those guys are not starting caliber type of guards. You're fine with tackle for now because I think that Trent Brown is suitable for the time being. Tyler Booker, the top inside offensive lineman there, gives CJ Stroud some dang protection, man. Then you go for the LA Rams, almost said LA Chargers at 26. I think that they need to go defense. I think that they've done a really, really great job when they picked Jared Verse. I'm gonna hit Jalen Walker here. I think that there's really solid value at 26. Being able to play him opposite of Jared Verse would be absolutely amazing. He could play as an off-ball linebacker. I know that there are a lot of people that are concerned with his size, but another guy that could be potentially solid in pass coverage is a really good secure tackler. At 26, I mean, there are some mock drafts that have this man going within the top 10, the top five. And I think that he's really a guy that is clinging on for dear life because if things really don't go his way on draft night, this could be a potential for him where he slides into the late 20s, which really does suck because he's such a big time talented player. But I think that Walker could really fit in here, continue and make this LA Rams the defensive team that they were in 2022 with guys like Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and whatnot. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens at 27. Again, I think that this needs to be a pass rush, and luckily there are so many great pass rushers on the board. I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart. Again, just an absolute athlete, one of the best combine athletes that we have seen of all time. The man, maybe on tape, doesn't look like the greatest of pass rushers right away, but definitely could develop right there. And with that athleticism, man, with just that rawness, the ability to develop, definitely do think that that is suitable over there. 28 with the Detroit Lions. Also think that this could potentially be somebody within the trenches, especially if you're a little bit worried of Aiden Hutchinson coming off of his injury, especially if you think that this defense could potentially take a hit in terms of just ferocity and aggressiveness with Aaron Glenn not being there anymore. And I do think definitely think that there are some places that they could improve here. And I think the offense, you really can just leave it alone. Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown, Williams, Laporta, Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Panay Sewell on the right side. I mean, that offense is just stacked. Continue to build this defense up a little bit. I'm going to go with Donovan Ezra-Rookie here, just going to add to their pass rush depth over there. 29 with the Washington Commanders. Again, need to go pass rush, pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. I think that they need to go more edge than interior because I think that that's really where the Philadelphia Eagles ended up hurting them. So I'm going to go Michael Williams here out of Georgia. Again, the biggest weakness that they had in this season was definitely that rush defense. It's something that the Eagles really exploited in that conference championship game. You were able to get some solid weapons around Jaden Daniels now. You have Austin Eckler still in the backfield. You were able to add on Deebo Samuel. Obviously, you have Terry McLaurin opposite. You're able to re-sign Noah Brown. Get yourself and go out and shore up this defense with the run defense. And Michael Williams is definitely a big time start for that. Bills are a team that I think that they were praying and hoping that the wide receivers were falling down. At this point, they are not there. And this is also kind of a tricky pick, especially when you get down to this point in the draft at 30, 31, 32. You know, they're talented guys. They're first round guys, but they're not first round guys. They're kind of second round guys. I do definitely think that the secondary needs a little bit of help here. And again, they pass rush could potentially be a need, but they added Joey Bosa. They have Ed Oliver. They still have Matt Milano, who's still going strong. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I did not mean to go onto the inside here. Trey Amos, I know, has been an option. I like Maxwell Hairston, probably the best out of these three. Who is the tallest? 6'1" also. Obviously, height is not just the biggest thing, but I do think that 6'1". I just like Hairston because of his zone ability on that outside. 6'3". I actually haven't heard a lot about Siobhan Rebel from Eastern Carolina, so he definitely is a riser. His physical gifts, including height and length, point to press man. Okay, about at East Carolina, how much do you really trust with that? And he did tear his ACL. So I'm gonna have to look more into him before I really go over there. I'm gonna go Maxwell Hairston here. I know it might be a little bit of a reach for some people. And understand this. There are pass rushers within this draft that are going to fall to the second round. It's just going to happen. Like Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, Nick Scorton, Darius Alexander. Like it's just such a deep pass rushing class that all these guys are not going to be able to be taken within the first round. I mean, look, we drafted four straight edge rushers within this draft and we still have numerous ones. Sure, were there picks like maybe Hairston and Egbuka and whatnot that maybe you could have replaced with one of these guys, maybe. But the fact that we had, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, going down eight. You had eight pass rushers. Again, there could be potential for there to be 9 or 10 pass rushes in there. But I mean, even if you take two of these guys off the board, I mean, Derek Harmon, Nick Scorton, Darius Alexander, I mean, those guys that could legitimately still be first round talent. So any of these guys could definitely fall. And I think that Hairston could bolster up that struggling secondary with his zone ability. And then for the final two picks in the draft, again, I told you that offensive line was going to be a huge thing. I'm going to go with the two offensive linemen left on the board, both Gray Zabel and Josh Connolly, to the Chiefs and Eagles, respectively. I think that makes sense for both of them. The Chiefs, especially with trading away Joe Tooney, you need to be able to to protect Patrick Mahomes. And I just think that the Eagles, this is just a little bit more of a precautionary pick, trying to get that talent in while your veteran offensive line is still capable to be able to, start in front and be able to develop somebody like Josh Connolly. But then once they retire, Connolly can step immediately right in and replace those guys. So I think that this is more of an insurance thing. I mean, they're so talented that obviously they could go out and get one of those top players like a Kenneth Grant, but just get somebody that is going to ensure what is one of the most difficult things to improve within the league, and that is the offensive line. So here's the full draft. I mean, just a little bit of a review. Cam Ward at 1, Carter at 2. Hunter goes over to the Giants. You have Campbell heading over to the Pats. Jags get a trench player with Mason Graham. Pete Carroll gets his next Marshawn Lynch with Ashton Genty. Franchise tackle with the Jets with Armand Membu. McMillan becomes Bryce Young's favorite target. Shador Sanders backs up Carr in New Orleans. Josh Simmons in Chicago. Will Johnson becomes the number 1 corner in San Francisco. Golden and Banks, Hook'em Horns, both go back-to-back at 12 and 13. Tyler Warren just makes sense at 14. Falcons, I wouldn't doubt if they don't go defense, but they need to go defense at 15 with Mike Green. 16, you got Jahdae Barron. Malachi Starks to Cincy. Burden gives the Seahawks a hell of a lot of speed on that offense at 18. Jahad Campbell at 19. Broncos get their starting running back at 20. Pittsburgh opts not to go quarterback and goes James Pierce Jr. at 21. Loveland, another weapon for Herbert at 22. Ibuka, 23. Amanawari, great versatility at 24 for the Vikings. Booker just shores up that offensive line that has gone so weak for the Texans at 25. 26, Jalen Walker. I think that he's the best player available at that point and is somebody that could really improve what is still a rebuilding LA Rams defense. Stewart at 27, just a complete athlete. Ezeruke, very, very similar, but also has some size to go along with that at 28. Michael Williams, I mean, there's the biggest need for the Washington Commanders was the run defense. Hairston with his zone coverage at 30, and then Zabron Connolly rounded out at 31 and 32 respectively. So that is my new mock draft for this week, guys. A couple of different changes. I'll be completely honest with you. Some changes that I did not think were going to happen, but some things that I also just do in the moment. I think that it is definitely fun to do that and change that up. You don't want the same 32 picks every single time because, of course, as always, the NFL draft is completely unpredictable. But let me know what you guys think. What were some of the picks that I got right? What were some that I got wrong? Who do you think your favorite team is going to be drafting on draft day? And how excited are you for the NFL draft? Like I said, just about 14 days away, 15 days away as the time that I'm recording this. I'm going to go ahead and get some sleep because I got class tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in for this. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like and comment down below and share with your friends. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on all social medias, that being TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All the ads are down below. And there will be a bar popping up right here. And without further ado, guys, that is all I have for you today. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.